This is not an issue that is solely an Indian issue, although I've come to got to know a lot of you, or a lot of Indians in my own hometown of Seattle, from Boeing and medicine and Microsoft. I was getting there. And I've also been to Microsoft's operation in India itself, in Bangalore. So I have more than a little, Hyderabad, excuse me. And so I have more than a little understanding about this whole business, and I'm pleased to have the opportunity to talk to you about the backlog of green cards. Now, in my view, a clear citizenship path is the only good policy. It's not only an affirmation of the fact that highly educated immigrants have made this country, have built this country, and they maintain now our technological competitiveness comes out of a lot of what's happening from our immigrants. We were all immigrants once. When my people arrived here 150 years ago, you raised your hand and said, I swear allegiance to the United States, you were a citizen. That was it. You were on your way. The immigrant sort of apparatus that has grown up since then has been largely a way of trying to keep certain people out of this country. And we have a long history of not being sure we want those people to come to this country, whoever those people were. It depends when you came here. In 1845, when I came, my mother's family were German and my father's were Irish, and neither one of them were wanted because they spoke the wrong language and they had the wrong religion. They were Catholic, and one spoke Gaelic and the other spoke German. You had to be white and speak English and be Protestant to really be an American. And the whole issue of immigration has really grown from that period of time when we had massive immigration. But in fact, it's what made America. The Irish were about 3/4 of the Civil War Army. As soon as we got in, they drafted us and put us in and threw us into battle all over the place. And we were the sort of cannon fodder of the Civil War. And so every immigrant group goes through something coming into this country. And I've always said that the reason America is the place it is because of the immigrants. Because to be an immigrant means you got to get up, get on your coat, get on your horse, and go a long way away to a lot of problems. And that takes nerve, it takes brains, it takes guts, it takes a willingness to stand up to all kinds of things to come and be an immigrant. It's not an easy thing to be an immigrant. So when those kind of people get here, they got this we're gonna make it kind of attitude, which is really what has driven this country, because we've been constantly putting in new people, whether it was from Croatia or Vietnam or India or China or wherever. We were always bringing in people who were fueling that kind of drive that has made this country. Now, immigrants are about 1/6 of the workers in this country. Most people don't think about that. There's an interesting movie you should get sometime just for your own entertainment called A Day Without a Mexican. It's a movie about Los Angeles. If you took all the Mexicans out, all the Mexican immigrants out, I mean, this country really, most people walk around not really understanding where they live. And that 1/6 of our workers, and we're drawing the high-skilled workers from abroad. It's more critical to our economy now than ever before, which is why it's important to fix our outmoded form of immigration with all its quotas and rules and all the silliness that goes on. Between 1995 and 2005, immigrants founded 25% of the high-tech startups in this country. 25% in the last 10 years. When you think about what that means to our economy, you realize how important you really are to us. And some of them, some of the people who've come have been the most creative and driven people I've ever seen. I mean, they put us to shame. In fact, in my view, a lot of Americans have sort of lost the edge, and it takes bringing in immigrants to put the edge back into this economy. Now, you really are a competitive advantage to have high-skilled immigrants in this country. Some people think of immigration reform as kind of a sort of abstract idea involving mostly low-skilled workers. Unfortunately, immigrants are separated into two groups, if you want to look at them, because there's some who are very highly skilled, and then there are those who are the low-level immigrants that come in by the thousands to do our work in our fields and our orchards and all the kinds of things that folks do in this society that are necessary and won't be done by Americans. You can't find Americans to do those jobs. So it's not as though those people aren't worth it too. They are contributing to the economy in their willingness to work. More than 1 million highly skilled workers are in line for green cards in this country. Okay? 1 million of you are already sort of in the queue, and I was asking people as I came in, how long have you been in the queue? But immigration reform has been moving at glacial speed. You can't see a glacier move. You got to drive a stake in the ground, come back a year later, and see that it's moved about 6 inches. Well, that used to be before global warming. It's moving a little faster now. My wife was just down in Tierra del Fuego in Chile, and anybody who doesn't believe this world is changing ought to go take a look at how fast the glaciers are disappearing. But anyway, the Republicans don't want to solve the immigration issue. They want to talk about it and keep it as a political football to keep kicking around and saying this and saying that, and oh, it's awful. We got all those people coming in and taking our jobs, and they're the problems we got in this. They want immigrants as a political football. And I don't have to tell you, there are doctors and software engineers, researchers who are faced long years of being in the queue and with a chance to become a permanent resident of this country. But the Congress has just refused to move on this issue. We had the DREAM Act pass out of here last year. We couldn't get the Senate to even look at it. So you know what kind of, and this is guys like John McCain and some of these people who said, oh, they were for this stuff before, and suddenly they do a flip on us. And so we're really in an issue where it's important for you to go around and talk. It's good for you to be here in Washington, D.C., to go and see members of Congress and show them the face of who immigrants really are. Now, the fact is that no other major developed economy places employment-based immigration in such low priority as does the United States of America. Nobody else treats immigrants the way we do. The fact that you want to come here is honor to us, because it isn't because we made it easy or made it interesting or made it sort of recognizing the value that you bring to the economy. So I know that many skilled professionals want to renew their H-1B visa and have done it many times in order to retain their legal status while their green card application goes on. But the thing that is frustrating, yesterday, on Sunday, they had a story in the Seattle Times about the University of Washington. University of Washington received 25,000 applications for a class of 6,500 students. 12,000 of them were from out of state, and half of them were from foreign countries. So the entire class at the University of Washington could be filled with people from out of the country. Now, the odd fact of it, if you just look at it logically, you say to yourself, when they take these people in and they give them an education, why don't you staple a green card on the back of their diploma when they leave. No, we say, go home. And it is so counterproductive what is happening in this country right now that it's hard to explain. And my office, because we have so many folks from all over the world, not just from India and my area, we are constantly dealing with the problems of wives and of people coming over for weddings and all sorts of things because of the immigration hassle that goes on. It is really, in my view, very short-sighted on the part of the American economy and the American Congress not to deal with this backlog of green cards. I hope that we will get something done. This year marks the 129th anniversary of the Chinese Expulsion Act. In Seattle about 3 weeks ago, we had a ceremony in which we put up a statue of a guy named John McGraw, who was the mayor of Seattle at that point. They took all the Chinese down, put them on a boat, and we're going to just send them back. I don't know to wherever. After they built the railroads, and after they'd done the mining, and after they'd done all these things in the United States, we were going to send them back. So this thing is still here in this society. And I think that we are, I hope, going to deal with it in the very near future, because I'm grateful to all of you for what you've brought to this country and what you've given to this country, and welcome. We'll do what we can to get you a green card and get you permanent status. The best day of my life every year is the immigration ceremony they do in Seattle. I swear in 500 new immigrants every year, and they come from all over the world, and they're making Seattle what it is, the best city in the United States. Thank you. There you go.